Hi, this is part 4 of how to use the Jazz Guitarist Signature Series to expand your improvisational vocabulary. Boy, that is a mouthful. Now, to derive the utmost benefit from this series, we need to set some goals and organize our practice time efficiently. That is, if we want to reach said goals. This, of course, is going to vary for each player depending on their level of technical proficiency, on their instrument, their understanding of theory, and of course the available time they might have to practice. Therefore, I want each one of you to feel free to adjust the following plan to your own circumstances within reason. Throughout the life of this series, I will be posting one new transcribed phrase every week. At this time, I can't promise how long this series will last, but hopefully a minimum of a year. That should provide you with 4 phrases a month, or if my math is right, 48 phrases in a year. That is, if we don't consider 5-week months. So here is the initial goal. We want to learn 4 phrases monthly with the goal of expanding our vocabulary with 48 phrases within 1 year. Now, to achieve this goal, we have to set a consistent practice routine, whether it is daily or every other day. The duration of each practice session is also going to affect your rate of progress. I recommend a minimum of an hour in order to have time to cover all the necessary material. If you do less, you will assimilate the material at a slower rate, of course. However, if you only have 30 minutes to practice, make sure your sessions are daily. Many of you might find it difficult to learn 4 phrases per month, and that's okay. Like I said, feel free to alter this plan to fit your circumstances. So here it goes. In month 1, number 1, we want to pick 4 phrases. If possible, download the MP3s for each phrase and load them into your iPod or burn a CD with them that you can listen to in the car. The idea is to listen to the phrases periodically throughout the day so your subconscious mind can memorize them and eventually you will have an easier time recalling them. 2, devote a quarter of your practice time to each phrase. If possible, use a timer. Play them slowly in the first week. Don't get stuck on 1 or 2 phrases initially just because you can't master them. They will get better as the days and weeks progress. Move on to the remaining ones after their allotted time is over. This will ensure that by the end of the month you learn all 4 of them. 3, in week 2, transpose each phrase to at least 1 new key, a perfect 5th down. For example, if the original phrase is in C, you should transpose it to F. Don't just move the same fingering up or down the fretboard to a new key. Work out an alternate fingering, if possible, in the same position or neighborhood of the original key that you are in. Now, depending on the overall range of the phrase, sometimes you might have to change octaves in order to achieve this. 4, practice each phrase in at least 2 fingerings. Try to gradually memorize them. Also, gradually increase the tempo at which you can play them. 5, in week 3, pick at least 1 standard that you would like to use as a vehicle to develop these phrases into a solo. Remember that you will want to use the same standard for at least the next 2 solos that you will write. This is the most tedious step, yet the most important in the overall process of learning how to incorporate your phrases within the context of a standard. Some tips. Don't employ a phrase with a 16th note feel on a tune that is meant to be played really up-tempo. You probably won't be able to execute it. Don't start your solo out too busy. In other words, you want to build up the solo to a climax. Allow your lines to breathe. In contrast to horn players, guitarists tend to be lousy at this because they don't have to interrupt their playing to take a breath. This is something you should develop a feel for by listening to lots of great solos. Use rest to punctuate the end of a statement. Learn how to pace yourself. If you feel you can't carry out step 5 for any reason, at least try to incorporate any of the ready solos that I am making available to you. Keep in mind, though, that if you do so, you should pick your phrases in step 1 in accordance with those listed as the source of the chosen solo. Okay, for months 2 through 12. In months 2 through 12, continue the same routine outlined in month 1. But in addition, keep all previous phrases and solos in your routine for a total of 2 to 3 months. This will, of course, vary depending on each individual's amount of practice time. Either way, you want to ensure that they become second nature before eliminating them from your routine. You will now have to adjust your practice time as described in step 2 of month 1 to include not only your 4 new phrases, but also the previous month's review. Depending on your level of proficiency, the previous month's 4 phrases and solos should take up not more than 1/3 of your allotted practice time if they have truly been mastered. Again, this is something that each individual will have to determine and adjust according to their circumstances. I recommend that you have a written log detailing what you plan to practice throughout each month. Break it down into the 4 or 5 weeks in each month and detail what you are going to practice in each week. Sign off on each day when you fulfill your routine so that in 3 months you can evaluate your progress during that period of time. This will help you understand better at what rate you are progressing and also help you adjust both your schedule and routine if needed. That is to better meet your goal. Finally, after practicing a set of phrases and solos for a period of at least 3 months, try to improvise over your chosen standard, that is, the one that you wrote your solos over. Try to use some backup tracks or a computer program such as Band in a Box and see what you come up with. If you can, record yourself so you can listen back and evaluate your progress a little better. Hopefully you will start to naturally gravitate towards variations of the solos or phrases you've been working on. If you have been putting in a consistent amount of time and are not yet able to get around the chord progression, don't despair. This can take up to 6 months for some people. Just keep playing the material and try this again in a couple of months. I hope this information has been useful and you will be able to use it to further your playing. Thanks for watching.